So I'm wondering, since here we are and you're amazing and people are listening to us, if perhaps there's something we could do for lovely Cher personally.
Yeah, and there definitely is. So recently, well, maybe not even recently, I'd say as I've been growing my new business, I've just been getting this overwhelming feeling of I don't have what it takes. I can't do it. I don't have what it takes. I'm not good enough. I grew my first business that took off really, really quick, but it's this overwhelming feeling that's growing of I don't have what it takes. I can't help the people that I want to help. I'm not good enough.
Yeah, so I follow you, dear. Um, and can we could we agree that the not good enough we could consider it a belief? Um, so we could say a belief, which makes it a noun, like a pencil, but it's not really a noun, it's an action. One does the believing. So um, do for a moment the belief that you described. In other words, just go ahead and believe this, I don't have what it takes. Good, got it?
Yeah, yeah.
And so could we think that the thing that caused the experience that you just had as you believe that was was caused someplace within your own mind? Can we think that although you are cooperative, I ask you to do it, you immediately do what you're asked. However, you had to involve your unconscious to do it. So you had to kind of get that involved. And it was doing something. And what does it do? It processes information. So the deeper part of our mind is is reading, processing information, causing responses. Um, so mind causes um, emotion, sensation, thought, impulse, habit in order to cause behavior, which is in order to deal with things and basically motivated to cause survival. So somehow that belief most likely got twisted up with some of that stuff, but um, you just experienced that. Um, if you could, can we think together that it was caused from within your unconscious?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you then represent it visually with some kind of something we see in our mind's eye, abstract thing? It's a
Mm.
sort of grayscale, or might it have a color?
It's grayscale.
And good. So we're done with that. What I see for you is, see, what you might at this point be presented with um, by somebody is, well, gosh, Cher, you haven't been feeling so good about yourself, and what you need to do is start feeling good about yourself. And why don't you feel good about yourself? And we better explore your life. And that could take a really long time and not be too pleasant. Um, I'm thinking um, of that uh, uh, differently. I think we can get something um, done with that. So I'm already like seeing what is intended for you, and and it's not feeling. I'm not seeing you feeling good about yourself. What I am seeing is you clear. Clear meaning Um, it's, we're looking through these uh, glasses, and one is we get them clean, and two is we adjust the focus. So when you see something, you see just what's there. Your mind takes in the actual information, and then I'm seeing you where you're seeing opportunities. You see solutions. It shows right up. It's vivid. And you just look out there, and your experience is, well, I could do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can take some of this, I can give some of that, I can feel some of this, and here's how I can get this done. The real stuff that you're viewing. Because the way it has been, well, maybe I'm not good enough, and maybe I don't have what it takes. Um, those are things you were perhaps feeling, thinking, believing, but they're not. They're concepts. They're not real things. You see, this is a real board. It really is. But Cher's not good enough. I can't hit it, I can't hear it, I can't feel it, I can't see it. So it's not a real thing. It's been a concept or something you've been believing. So I'd like you to look at it um, like it's right there in front of you. Maybe it's written on a whiteboard or it's written on a blackboard. See it. Tell me, is it white or blackboard?
It's a whiteboard.
Yeah. And is it black letters?
It's blue letters.
Uh-huh. And it says you or Cher or I.
It says you.
So it says you are not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So look at that a moment, and now you look at that belief. You've got that. Prior to this, my friend, I don't think you had it. I think it had you. I think it had you from inside out. I think it had you on the inside, and that was affecting some of the things you thought, felt, experienced, and even did on the outside. But now you look at that thing. And as you look at it, um, I would ask you to, you know how you are told not to be judgmental? Let's be judgmental here. Let's look at that belief. There it is. You're not good enough. And the question I have for you is, as you judge it, is it useful? Is there something you can do with that today or tomorrow, or
Mm.
ever?
No, no, it's not useful.
So it has no value. And um, I I would um, suggest that that's really all we have to determine. Now, the next question would be, is it true? Um, which, if it doesn't have value, doesn't even matter. If you're about to go swimming and I hand you a lawn chair and you say, why are you giving me a lawn chair? I want to go swimming. And I say, well, it's a real chair. You might say, well, yeah, I'm sure it is, but I'm not taking it with me. So you might just disregard it because it's useless. But with this one, it's not only useless, but it's clearly based on stuff that was perhaps suggested as a child, that there's something called good enough, and some folks have it and some folks don't, and it determines one's success. And and it's not useful, and it certainly isn't true. And if it was true, there'd be nothing about you that it would be true about. So it's just like on all levels, untrue and useless. Yet it's been hanging out for a minute or two, hasn't it?
Yeah, it
For
has.
for a year or two, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a ton of your life so far. Yeah?
Yeah.
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 So that thing has had is reaching the end of its lifespan. So it's ready for, um, I guess, loving goodbye-bye care, because um, that's that's not so useful. I find that frequently what goes on, well, so the combat vet sitting with you in his living room, everybody's fine. Then there's a firecracker. Then she jumps under the couch and then crawls out and says, I'm sorry, but I saw my friend killed with a grenade 7 years ago, and this triggered me. Meaning that the information about that got triggered when the firecracker sound happened. That's happening all the time for people, usually not consciously. In other words, that might happen to a guy 10 times today, and he doesn't know it's happened at all. But this thing, I'm thinking, um, may have that kind of tail, if you will, supporting it. So I'd like you to just recall something you experienced this year that was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something you experienced where you really made a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I'd like you to just get with where we are here, you and I, because we're having a really, a significant conversation, very open and personal, yet we're being heard by a ton of people listening to that conversation. And you and I share a passion, which makes our meeting like immediately go like, wow, I'm so glad, I'm so excited to see you. And and we meet knowing we share a passion. And the passion is to make a significant difference for others, um, and um, do everything we can to reduce people's suffering and increase their well-being. And so that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. And you're involved in it. You're connected with it. You're in a community of folks who support you, who you are supporting, like you're supporting us right at this moment in such a tremendous way. So that's what's up. That's where you actually are. That's what So everything else that happened in your life was on your way to this amazing thing that you're up to, even at this moment. And those things that you recalled where you make a difference and you have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But let's maybe see what was contained within that feeling. If we could do that, I believe we can find it and dismantle it. So
Mm-hmm.
you live the rest of your life free of it. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
The way we'll do that is I'll ask you to just feel that feeling. And it's not a pleasant feeling, but for a little while, I'd like you to lean into it, experience it, surrender to it, and just notice as you do that, share any memory that comes to mind, or perhaps a belief. I find beliefs kind of have an age to them, just like memories do. But when you notice any memory or belief coming to mind as you just fall into that feeling, you nod for me so I can tell. Take your time. Yeah, and how old were you there, dear?
I think 7.
Let's get another one too. So go back to the feeling. You got the event at 7, leave that and just the feeling of not okay, not acceptable, not good enough. Another memory will come to mind. You nod when you have it.
I'm getting 5, but I don't know what it is.
Uh-huh. And so you know what happened at 7. You're not sure what the thing was at 5. And I'm sensing early adolescence. Look there.
13?
There it is. And you remember what happened there? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And let's come back and connect with me. You did a great job there. So something happened at 5, you're not sure what.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of folks spend then years trying to figure that out based on a mistaken belief that if you're going to deal with it, you have to know what it is. However, you don't. Your mind will apply what we do next to exactly what happened, whether or not you ever remember exactly what happened. So what happened is going to be addressed by what you're about to do without you needing to know what happened. You might recall what happened, but it won't matter. So I'd like you to be creative, imaginative. Think of that little 5-year-old, and that 5-year-old at the moment that we see her there, like let's say it's a photograph, um, she's feeling something. It doesn't look to me like she's feeling happy. What would you label the feeling she's experiencing?
It's like a feeling of I can't do it.
Yeah, it's fear. And that's what I was seeing too. So when so fear is an emotional and it's physiological. We feel it in our minds, don't we? I mean, we
Mhm.
feel it like emotionally, but you could feel fear in your body, and fear is often accompanied with thoughts too, sensation, thought, um, emotion, rolled up, um, and fear is a response. It's what the mind triggers when it perceives a threat. And the threat is actually and fundamentally the threat to survival because we're hardwired to survive. So that little 5-year-old, as she's afraid, I don't know what exactly she's afraid of yet, but fundamentally, that's what fear is about. Um, So as you see that photo and see it as a photo, and so it's photo, it's still, it's frozen. And it did get still because that's what happens sometimes that causes this kind of stuckness. And let's use your lovely imagination to just make up a story about what happened to cause that lovely 5-year-old to be experiencing that feeling. What happened to her?
I think I think I actually remember what it was. I think it was my first day at school.
And what happened?
I just didn't want to leave my mum. I was
Yeah.
just so scared.
And then what happened?
I remember I was on my own.
So you didn't want to leave her, and yet how did you end up being apart from her for a while that day?
Yeah, and I was sat with the teacher
How
and
did that
just,
happen, that separation happened?
well, she had to leave me because obviously it was my first day at school, so
Yeah, and so
she said she had
she
to.
left, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so think about this from outside. Remain the grown-up hanging out with me. We're looking at this little girl together. Um, you're a beautiful young woman. You're certainly not a 5-year-old. So you hang out with me as the beautiful young woman that you are. We look at that 5-year-old, and do you get that at 5, um, this child experiences the reality of that her life depends on her mother.
Yeah.
It actually does.
Mm.
Mom took her out into the forest and left her there. Um, it's not likely she'd survive that unless some other adult came and took care of her. But she wouldn't figure it out. And she knows that. And so there's this um, um, dependency, and it's like a lifeline dependency um, on, mom is the lifeline that keeps me alive and has been there. And something is taking place here where I don't want her gone, and she left anyway. What did that little girl make of that?
She hated it.
Right. And was terrified
Mm.
about the past, present, or future. Future, maybe a minute future, maybe a few seconds in, but it was future. So she was terrified of the future. Okay, you see that photo of this gal terrified of the future, and you notice that as we began to talk about this, first you didn't have any memory of it, then we were able to get the memory, which is what I was looking to do, and we did. And then you felt a bit emotional in thinking back on that, which means it's still live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it means your beautiful mind successfully pinpointed just what there is for us to clear. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. It
So,
does.
so let's do this. You close your eyes, you look at that little girl picture. It's a picture. Look at the photo. And as you look at the photo, um, recall that thing that you did recently that was so much fun. So recall the thing that was so much fun. And that's it. So you're looking at that, and um, that little girl starts getting it. What she gets is there will be a future. The future is guaranteed. You are the future. You're right there. You're paying attention to her. There is a future. There's no question about that. And it's guaranteed. And it's going to entail some stuff that will be so much fun. And as she realizes that, you'll notice that the photo begins to like animate, it moves. You can see the picture of the girl, but the girl in the picture starts to breathe. She starts to breathe, then she starts to stretch, and then she's not stuck, she's not trapped, she's not there. And Cher, you certainly aren't trapped. You're not there. You're free. And the energy that was stuck there is now energy that's swirling around you. It's an amazing color. And I can see from here what that energy is going to fuel within you. When it's absorbed, that energy is going to fuel you seeing opportunities, solutions, and jumping on them, not confident about yourself, but looking at the thing. Oh, I can do that. I can move that from there to there. The focus is outward and fun. And then take your time and find your way back to me. And finally, your eyes open. Good job. How does that leave you, dear?
Yeah, really good.
What do you recall happened to the 7-year-old? See that as a photo as well.
I can't see it, but I know I remember thinking that I couldn't, it was about my dad and I couldn't, he had depression and I couldn't help him.
Right. Get back to me. Um, so at 7, it comes from tender sort of emotions, but those emotions were also, stay with me, connected to the actuality of that. Him and mom will have the job of you not being dead. So in addition to you just being a sweet girl wanting everybody happy, you also wanted everybody competent on account of the fact that it would be good to survive. And there was also, I also see you there with such a open and loving heart, which is still there and is going to be a major asset in the gift you provide others. It's going to be a big deal. It's already a big deal. It's like beautiful. Um, and you're, because of that heart, going to be making a big difference in people's lives. And that's a promise. You will be making a big difference in people's lives. We're going to hang out together a bit, and things are going to be astonishing for you. It'll be, it's already so much better than at 7, but it's on its way to even still more fun and more pleasure in getting others better and the pleasure of getting people past depression and knowing the key. How could you do that at 7? But we're teaching you to do it now. Close your eyes and look back at that little girl and know what she's in store for her. Know that she's going through this bit of heartache. And that's like you make it steel by putting it in a furnace. And this is the furnace that's causing that little girl to become an astonishing and beautiful woman healer. And so she has no clue how much she's going to be able to do and how amazing that's going to be for the world. And that Dad will have, through you, done so much for the world. Yeah, and that's all right for that to have a feeling to it. Dad is doing so much now for the world through you. And so look at that picture because it's frozen. Little kid didn't know there was ever going to be another day. That's how it turned into a photo. And watch her as you connect with what we're up to here. Watch her breathe. Watch her stretch. Watch her move. And then know that she's absolutely free. You're not stuck anymore, Cher. you're free. And the emotion right now is one that it would be great if you can just feel, because that's what it feels like when second by second your body's getting healthier. So if you just let that tender, teary thing happen, know that at this moment, things are being put into place for you to be innovative and powerful. Now let it be, because there's a little bit of trying to hold it together. Why should you be holding it together? You only got thousands of people watching you, and they're learning from you that strong women can have strong feelings. And you feel that strong feeling because that's what comes with a strong woman. You don't want us to transform you into being a sweet little weak girl with sweet little weak feelings who never cries because her feelings aren't weak enough to push a tear. But no, we want you just the way you are. Yeah, feel that. Just the way you are, Cher. That's it. Just the way you are right now. Fall into that. Yes, you're perfect. There's nothing to fix. Breathe. Yeah, you're perfect. That's it. There's nothing to fix. Yeah. And then take your time and open your eyes. More fun than you've had in months, right? Um,
As I said, no one really cries in RRT. Now I'm crying.
well,
But
what kind of tears are they?
it just feels like such a release, like a release of just so much pressure.
What happened to 13-year-old Cher?
She, sounds so silly, but she was in school and she had a best friend, and her best friend was like really like early developed. Like she had boobs, she like all the boys fancied her, she was really tall, and I just still looked like this.
And that little girl was feeling what at 13?
I just felt like no one's ever gonna like me. Everyone likes
Yeah,
her.
yeah, sure. Um, so at 13, not so many curves, huh? And they never happened, did they?
No,
Here you are, straight as a board years later, right?
although no, that's not true. They did come. They did come.
Oh,
I'm really quite pleased with how it turned out in the end. I'm quite curvy
well,
and
I would think
I like
so, young lady. So there you go. So now look at that little girl. Close your eyes, look at her, and just remember for a moment as you're looking at her, as she's looking at that kid going, oh my God, they forgot to give me any of those. Uh, a lot of people seem to want to be all around those, and I don't have, mine are pretty close to invisible. Um, and as you're seeing her stuck, just think about looking at your body right out of the shower, full-length mirrors. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen to that kid. Yeah, exactly. Uh, then, I mean, she won't even get that whole thing now. Her little 13-year-old head isn't big enough to grasp those breasts. But she knows something's going to be happening that's like mind-blowing good. Yeah. And and it's better when it happens slow. It's like the difference between taking an amazing dessert, shoving it in your mouth and swallowing it as quickly as possible, like it was a bad tasting pill, or taking a taste and then in a little while another taste, and it's just indescribably good. So experience that as you just look at yourself in the mirror there and think, that kid's not ready for all of that at once. I mean, it's nice, but that would be a little too much. That's like
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
to eat 18 eclairs at the same time. Not so good. So she'll get to nibble it, and then a little more and a little more as her body becomes more and more interesting, um, and appealing and amazing. Yeah. And so she's not stuck there. She's going, yay, I'm ready. And she's not in that picture. And the picture is gone. And there's you with amazing energy swirling around you. All beautiful colors, but now it enters you. It enters you, it lifts you. Yes. Now your eyes stay closed and don't do anything on purpose, but just notice, if you will, that things are kind of moving. Your head, your shoulders, your body is just kind of moving, like rocking, like swaying. That's it. And it's just going on its own. There it goes. So it's going on its own. And you're taking a ride in your body. Yeah, like you were a little girl on a swing and people were just gently pushing your swing and you just have to sit there and it's fun. And sometimes they push you back and forward. And then this swing goes left and right. And but it keeps swinging further. Yeah. And as it's just kind of swinging you, your body swings with it, your neck swings with it, your head is swinging with it. Everything's just floating with this swing, and your breath is different, and your jaw has unlocked, and your mouth is becoming super soft, and your lips are parting. And every time you notice your lips are parted, your body is healing and your creativity is flowing. This is getting really, really good, Cher. Really good. Yeah, yeah. And then even better. Yeah, yeah. And then you're going to put the palms of your hands together level with your nose. So lift up your hands, just press them together right there about this. That's it. And then you just lift those hands up so they're as high as you can stretch, but press those palms together. Keep the palms pressed. That's right. And just feel what's happening because you're going to push hard as you hear these words. Cher, you are really strong, amazing, creative, funny, fun, smart. And that little 13-year-old says, and quite curvy. And all that's going. And so the whole notion of good enough, not good enough is just now silly. Yeah, you just do what shows up right in front of you, and your beautiful mind just shows you what to do, puts it together for you. It's amazing, Cher. You're amazing. Take your time. Gradually, your arms float down like feathers, till they finally rest. And then you rest for a little bit longer, like feathers. Shh. There's been an amazing transformation, and your power is now visible. You can find it. It's just there. When you're ready, you open your eyes and check back in with me. No hurry. No hurry. Slow. Indulge yourself. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, slow. Yay. So way earlier, you came up with a image you could kind of see that was representing what was going on in your mind that was causing this issue. Check it out now.
No, it's gone. It's
And
gone.
that's gone. And now let's check further. Try to cause the same feeling, the not good enough feeling.
No, I can't. It's not there.
Now I'm going to start telling you you're not good enough. Let me see what happens when you hear it from the outside, okay? So share, there are those who are good enough, and then there's you. It's sad, isn't it? The good enough people are all lining up over here. Honey, would you just wait? The not good enough people will be coming in much later. So you just stand in the corner. So how am I doing? Am I getting you to feel crappy?
No, no, not at
It's
all.
just silly, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
So that's out of your way. And my goodness, your life is on the way to being dramatically better. And your mission to make a difference for others is now more clear and powerful. So hooray for you.
Thank you, Jon. I'm so grateful. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like 10 stone lighter.
Yeah. Well, you're so beautiful, dear, and this is what you're really all about, is inspiring and creating change. And step one is experience it yourself. Step two is then inspire others.
Mhm,
And then next is cause that shift for them.
mhm.
So you're already completed one and two, and you're deeply in training to do more and more of number three.
Mhm.
Um, and you're also out there, um, this beautiful voice in the night making a difference.
Thank you, Jon.